Hey guys, it's me, British Designer here, and today what we are going to basically be doing is a very sort of simple illustration style tutorial sort of thing, which is sort of meant to give inspiration for some prints that you want to design, or looking at different styles of designing that aren't too polished. And so it's a very simple style. I'm using minimal things. I'm using a pencil I got for free, a really cheap fine liner. If you wish to watercolor this or sort of fill it in traditionally via traditional media, you would have to get a bit more of an expensive fine liner, but I'm just using a super cheap one that they usually use for writing stationery, because I'm not going to really be painting over these or drawing over these with anything else. And then just any sort of eraser that is somewhat firm. This one's a little bit more expensive than most, but really just any eraser will do, as long as it's got some sort of firmness to it and it's not too, so, you know, like a mushy eraser. You don't want that, but you get what I mean. So this is all like two examples that I've done, and at the end there'll be a digital example. So this was like of a goose that I drew. It's, you know, got a little bit of pointillism on it, and it's just very sort of messy, very caricature-ish and very simple. And the other one is of the deer, which you'll just see down in the corner staring you down as you watch. But first off, I was drawing a pen because I wanted to show that you can, you know, I was doing household items as well. This one was a bit of a flop. I don't mind how it looks now in hindsight. I'm going into them digitally to edit them. I do not add any pointillism to this one. I probably should have, but I didn't. We're sort of just going into it and just sort of showing how simple this is, and then you'll have the full first attempt. I'm just showing you the line art of this. So adding some type to it, and because I'm going in digitally, I don't have to worry about it being too clean, but as well, sometimes it being a little bit messy, it adds a lot of character to it. So as you can see, sort of very simple, and then sort of going into the next one, very haphazardly. The only thing I'm spending time on is the curve at the top, because that's sort of like the starting point, and you kind of want that to be a bit more sort of polished, so you can follow off from that and not struggle too much. And if my voice sounds a bit off, it's because I am very ill. Not very ill, I was fairly ill, and it just really affected my voice. Sort of going into it, going a bit more detail with the shaping, spending a bit more time on the sketch on this one, and this one is more of a quill pen. So the sort of end of it's a little bit dodgy, so these ones aren't necessarily the best, but they're very quick examples, and I feel like when edited as well, because I'll go into Photoshop and edit them, they'll look very, very cute. And what I'm planning this for is sort of for easy and quick prints to go, you know, going a frame. So they are very sort of simple, very sort of cute designs. There's nothing really much to them. There's no real shading or line thickness. I do add a little bit of line thickness because I messed up the line out on this one, and that's another thing you do, is obviously add line thickness. However, I would not recommend line thickness unless you want to shade it throughout. For this particularly, I wouldn't recommend it, but depending on what style you're doing, line thickness is a very important thing. So sort of just going up, it's very simple. Actually, looking at it, I prefer the prior one now looking at it, but sort of going up around, sort of doing the lid, making sure that they're all slightly bigger than one another, just so they'll all fit together. And yeah, it's just very, very simple. And then I'm going to go in and add a little line, and then I'm going to write on it pen, or did I write pen? Yeah, I think I write pen. And just in capital letters underneath it to kind of add like almost like a straight line effect. Oh, you can see my hair and how messy it was that day because I was ill. Because actually I was going to film a makeup tutorial instead of this, but just kind of wanted to show this cute little style and bring art videos to my channel, which I'll be doing a lot more of, by the way. So going into it, just rubbing it out of the eraser after it's fully dried. Yeah, and then we're going to go on to the rabbit. So I started drawing it off, I started drawing it out straight away. I put a little bit more concentration in. I probably shouldn't. If you wanted to look more like a deer, go with a very loose hand. I kind of wanted to keep the form of a rabbit because I feel like a lop rabbit, which is the rabbit this is modelled after, it's quite hard to capture that in abstract forms because you usually see pricked up ears, you know, that's sort of like the standard rabbit. But we're just framing it after my rabbit with just the very caricature style of it, and sort of it looks very angry. And we're filling in the eyes very differently because usually I use a singular spot for an eye or a very small sort of like circle for the eye for this kind of style. It just looks a lot more cute and a lot more sort of quirky. But for this one, I kind of wanted to try something a little bit different, and then going in, and because it's kind of like a running joke between me and my partner, just sort of like, just having, because I have the biggest breed of lop that you can get, and he's huge. He's about the size of a cat, but just imagining a mini version that could fit in your pocket and how adorable that would be. So sort of drawing out that, and then you're just going into ink it straight away. I mean, it's good with this not to go I mean, I usually go sketchy with inking, in honesty, because I have a very terrible hand-eye coordination and my hands are just not very good at this kind of stuff. Not very... Oh, what's the word? They're quite shaky and they don't have the best hand-eye coordination. So, but with this, I would recommend trying to keep it as little lines as possible. Make sure that it's quite smooth. It can look a little bit shaky actually, and sometimes that actually helps with this style, because if it's a perfect curve, it kind of looks a little bit, I don't know, it looks a bit like you're doing an actual painting and you've just not done anything other than lined it. So doing it this way makes it feel a lot more complete. So just going in for the paws, just did them really sort of simple because I wasn't looking at anatomy for this, because it's just a super quick design. And sort of then going in, shading it, then I go in to shade the pocket. Sort of very simple, just sort of going in there. And then I'm going to be adding some lines, just to add pocket creases where he would be. And then I'm going to add sort of just, again, pocket stand. I put a little heart at the at the end, but that doesn't show up, so I'm probably going to edit that out in Photoshop when I do go into Photoshop with this. So speaking of which, I may have to, yes. So sort of aligning this as well, sort of very simple type. I didn't want to go in too advanced with the type, I kind of want to keep it very simple and kind of liney and very basic, which is what I did, and I think it looks quite cute. I'll edit it in Photoshop, make it more proportionate. As you can see, that heart turned out awful, but then just sort of rubbing out wherever's, because I'm impatient, wherever it was dry, I rubbed out. The good thing about this pen, even though it smears with water, is that it doesn't, what's it called, it does dry down fairly quickly. Sort of going in with it, and this is sort of like a called a soft razor, and it has nowhere near sort of as much fallout than normal rubbers, which is something that's quite nice. So adding the pointillism shading to this, now just sort of adding it all over, as well as extra definition, so like under eye creases I do in the pointillism, just because I feel like it doesn't make them look as harsh, but it still makes them look quite prominent in a way. So just the shading all around everywhere, to be honest, just making sure he's got lots of shading. He looks very angry, and it's very cute. I know it's very simple, a very simple style, but luckily, you know, in my next video in this topic, you can see me do something a bit more advanced, which is stencil and digital, or something, or sort of like taking these into Photoshop, taking them into Illustrator, and sort of making them look really quite cute, print quality, simple illustration. So whichever one you really want, if you want a part 2 to this, where I go into the digital method after you finish these, or if you want more of the complex stencil and, you know, that sort of design, you can go for that too. Also it's a deer, because both of these, my boyfriend loves deer, so I did them both for my boyfriend. But anyway, sort of like going in with that pointillism, as you can see, just all around it, and basically from then on out I am done. So yeah. Yeah, so if you did like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram if you want to see more of this stuff and more makeup. So see you all later. Goodbye.